Hello, everyone. Who am I? My name is Daylicious. I'm 30 years old and I have an 8-year-old son. Who am I? I'm just a normal woman, but I've been through a lot in my life. Who am I? I was that child that grew up without a father, whose mother and father was in and out of jail for selling drugs and doing things they wasn't supposed to do. Who am I? I was that child who was molested by older men when my mom was right in the other room. Who am I? I was that child who told my mom about what that other man did, and no one believed me. Who am I? I was that child who didn't have a dad, but had a stepdad, and he beat me as a young child all the time. He even locked me in the basement and told me that I would never see daylight. Who am I? I am that child who was fed up, so I went and told my teacher of the abuse that was going on in my home. And what happened after that? I ended up to be awarded a state. I was a child in foster care. I was a child that had to go from group home to group home, from house to house, until I was able to find a steady housing to care for me. Who am I? I was a child that ran away from group homes because I didn't want to be there, but I've also got myself in situations. I was a child to wonder why my mom would let a man who I didn't like, and I've expressed to her plenty of times that I didn't like him, come into our lives. When I say our, I mean me and my younger sister. And do us the way that he did, knowing that he never had children a day in his life. I felt like he shouldn't have had the right to discipline us. I felt like he was doing things because he didn't like us. And because my mom was in love with him, she was willing to let him do whatever he wanted to do. So because of that, I dealt with him. I had to deal with him. I had to deal with him beating me and hurting my sister, trying to keep me away from her, and I dealt with that all the way up until I was 13 years old. I went to foster care one time, but they made a mistake by putting me in the house with my auntie, and she gave me back to my mom, where my stepdad was still at. But then when I turned 15, I went to foster care again because he decided that he wanted to beat me again. He wanted to beat me with plungers and hold my mouth while I scream and choke me, and I couldn't take that. So I had to go. So I went to school and I told my teacher and I went to a foster care. But only this time, I moved in a foster home that was my best friend's mom. And she took care of me until I was 18. Out of all that stuff that I've experienced in my life, it has affected me today. Because even though I have that house that I want, I have that car, that great job, I still wasn't able to focus. It seemed like once I got settled, I was still upset. I didn't understand why. But then I started to have these thoughts come into my head about all the past stuff that happened to me, and I started to wonder and question my mom as to why she didn't love me and why she would let another man do that to me, especially a man that I expressed to her that I didn't even like. I needed answers. I needed to figure out why, as a child, as her child, that she's supposedly supposed to have loved, did she let me experience child abuse? It's not something great for a child. And because of that, I do everything in my power to protect my own child. Child abuse is real, no matter if it's physical, mental, emotional, even if a child's one parent is not there versus the other. It's all a form of child abuse. And that type of stuff will stick with you for the rest of your life until you have answers as to why. That's who I am. But today, I'm better than who I was yesterday. Today, I made a stand and I made a promise to myself that my child will never have to go through child abuse. And I will always be better than what I was when I was younger, and I will be better than the parents that I have. My topic of today is child abuse and how it will affect you as an adult, even when you think that your child is young enough to not even remember. There's things that I remember from the age of 3 that comes to my head today, and it's crazy to me because you wouldn't even think that your child wouldn't even remember that, but they do. Child abuse has a big effect on people's lives, and I think the world needs to hear how important it is.